Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Burning Hand of Friendship, a channel devoted to the relics of pop culture that scrambled our brains in the physical media that built the mythos of a new age. And I am your host, Friendo number 2, the conscientious vampire and the movie guy for the Burning Hand of Friendship. And as you could see, we're going to do another movie haul. I spent all my money on the Orbit DVD because they had a nice indicator sale last month where, man, some of the prices were just insane and I had to partake. And originally I only wanted to get 3 movies that had nothing to do with the indicator because, to be honest with you, I'm not really into the Euro pervy movies. I do like a fascination. I almost bought that, but I ended up getting some classics, some that I even think Criterion should be releasing. But anyways, let us start. And we will go through first the 4Ks that I bought that aren't part of the indicator sale, and then we will go through all the indicator movies that I bought. And we start things off with School in the Crosshairs from 1981, directed by Nobuhiko Obayashi. The dude that gave us House, one of my favorite movies of all times, probably one of the best of the haunted house movies. And I've never seen this movie, but what I read, it's about a psychic schoolgirl who goes to battle with another psychic student, and it's a wacky and it's a weird, which I'm a big fan of all that. So can't wait to see it. And you know what? Let's open it up. Let's see what's inside, huh? Oh, there we go. Nice. Throw it in the trash. So as you could see, it has a different cover than of the slip cover. Oh, very nice. Oh, we get a nice little booklet. It's kind of fat. It's a fatty of a booklet. It's all in Japanese. I guess I have to learn how to read Japanese. But anyways, very excited. Can't wait to see this on my own. And next we have Rockers from 1978, directed by Ted Bafulokos, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, so I apologize, Ted. Now this one is my favorite, and it is also an upgrade. Sorry, I misplaced it. Here it is, the upgrade. And funny enough, this is also from the MVD, but this is before, they became the company that we know now. And to be honest with you, the quality of this one was always a little bit sus, as the young kids say. And it looks, it just feels like this was photocopied. Just the material this was printed on, even this. So let's take a look at the 4K and to see if they've improved it. Like, so far, I love this. Now, if anyone doesn't know what this movie is about, this one is for the reggae lovers. It has great classic reggae, and the majority of the musicians on the soundtrack play versions of themselves. Like, you got the Big Youth, a Burning Spear, Gregory Isaac, Horsemouth, who's a drummer. He plays the main dude in this movie. And then that's just a few, there's so much more. And the movie's plot is very simple. A dude who's trying to hustle his records gets his bike stolen by criminals, and Rasta justice ensues. But you also get a peek of Rasta culture, and you are basically hanging out with some of the greatest reggae musicians of all time. There's also plenty of funny moments, and it is my favorite reggae exploitation film, even more than Harder They Come. It's just an enjoyable ride, and the music in this, oh boy. Not that the Harder They Come had bad music, because that's another one that has probably one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. But the Rocker soundtrack, if you're a reggae fanatic, especially old school reggae from the 70s, which that's really the peak of it, and here we go. Let us push it out, because I have not even seen it. Is it the same? Oh, it is the same. Okay, that's not too bad. But as you can see, the artwork looks clear. It doesn't look like a photocopy. Didn't like that MVD the first time, so the second time is okay. Oh, and it comes with a poster. I'm fine with that. And as you could see, you get the Blu-ray and you get the 4K. So hey, this is not that bad. I love. And I rarely ever upgrade the Blu-ray. Like, if I have the Blu-ray, I'm probably not going to get the 4K unless it's a movie that I absolutely love, like Blade Runner. I've had it in VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and now 4K. And the rockers, I've had this on DVD, and then the DVD, I lent it out. It never came back. I had to get the Blu-ray. Very disappointed with the quality of this Blu-ray. Just look at the difference. Even the logo. Look, this is like, I could have done this better when I was like 18 and I first started doing Photoshop, So whoever did this, you get an F, all right? Whoever did this, A+. Love it. Thank you. We all been wanting this. At least me. I definitely been wanting this. And of course, a lot of you would be familiar with this one. Of course, it's the Evil Dead 2 by Sam Raimi on the 4K. And I had to get it because it came with a slipcover. I'm such a sucker for the slipcovers, But this, of course, is an upgrade from the Anchor Bay. And I almost bought this Blu-ray several times, but I was happy with the DVD at the time. But, it's time to upgrade because this is definitely one of my all-time favorite horror movies. This is another one I've had on VHS, DVD. Didn't get the Blu-ray, but now I have the 4K. And let's take a look. It probably has, yep, as I expected, the same artwork. I do like it when the slipcover and the actual cover have different art. It gives us a little something, something different. But let's open this up. I doubt this is going to have like a double cover, where I could flip it. And as you could see, pretty boring. But hey, look, I love a digital copy. I will have to blur that out so no one steals my free movie. But yes, I wish Otto would to put this out or someone else to just give us a nicer, presentation. Because come on, man, it's Evil Dead 2. This is the cult classic. But let's be honest here for a minute. Which one looks cooler, eh? I think this one. I always like the artwork here. Anchor Bay. And those were all the 4Ks that were not indicator movies. And now we're going to hit the indicator movies. But look, this is one that I have not seen. And I've always been wanting to see this movie. And it's A Night of the Demon by Jacques Tourneur. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right because I am not French. But the guy who directed this, he directed The Cat People, I Walked with a Zombie, 2 movies that were produced by Val Lewton. And if you don't know who Val Lewton is, you should Google him because he did a very cool, spooky movies back in the days, the olden days, the black and white days. And he also directed this guy, not Val Lewton, that's 2 different guys, but Jacques also directed one of my favorite film noirs, Out of the Past. So this is about a skeptical American psychologist who travels to England for a conference to debunk a satanic cult, but then gets entangled in a satanic panic that turns out to be real. And like I said, I've never seen this, but you actually see this devil guy in the movie. I've seen the pictures. He looks like a spooky Muppet, and I love it, And, a lot of people have actually said that this is a pretty decent movie. So it's not schlock, or not completely schlocky. But whatever, I like this. Can't wait to see it. Here's another one that I've been wanting to see and I've never seen, and it's a Hammer film. Taste of Fear, that is right. And this one came out in 1961, directed by Seth Holt, and produced, like I said, by Hammer Films. So I had to get it, especially as I've only heard good things about this little black and white thriller. And we have cult favorite Susan Strasberg, who was in the hippie exploitation movies Psych Out and The Trip, from the 60s. And she was also in a couple of B-grade horror movies from the 80s, like A Sweet 16 and The Bloody Birthday. And of course, we have the Hammer favorite Christopher Lee in this. But like I said, I've never seen this movie. I've only heard about it. And you know what? I love Hammer films, so glad. And again, $10 I believe for this, or $10.15, something ridiculous. So most of these were Blu-rays. I didn't get any 4Ks. I want to call them Black Rays just because they have the black case, but they're 4K, not Black Rays, as I would like to call them. And this is one that I don't understand why Criterion has not released this. And this is Bunny Lake is Missing by Otto Preminger, the dude that gave us Anatomy of a Murder. That's a pretty classic. That's on the Criterion, right? And he also directed one of my all-time favorite noirs, Laura. But this one is one of those movies that some people love and others not so much. And I fall into the the love camp, because, I have not seen this in some time, but I'm surprised that this has not been, like I said, I'm very much surprised this has not been released on Criterion. You have Laurence Olivier, you have Carol Lindley, who both give us excellent performances. But not only that, you get a cameo by one of my favorite 1960s musical group, the Zombies. And boy, oh boy, very excited to see this, because, there was a time, I think Twilight Time was the only one that had a copy of it. And you know what? The transfer didn't look that great. But I'm hoping this one is going to be a very nice upgrade. It says from the 4K restoration. Bunny Lake is missing. And the cinematography on this is just absolutely amazing. You get to see swinging London in the 60s, and it's just whatever. Can't wait to see it again. Oh, you even get Noel Coward in this.
Hear that, Samantha? Our new tenants have arrived. Hello. We've come back from wettest Worcestershire, Samantha and I. This is Samantha. If we hadn't been away, we'd have organized a small but vociferous reception committee.
And then I also got a couple of Marlon Brando films, because I realized I don't have too many Brando films. I don't have On the Waterfront, and I didn't have, this is one of my favorites, The Wild One. But anyways, this was a Stanley Kramer production directed by Laszlo Benedict. And again, this is another one that also should be on Criterion, if you ask me. It's an American classic about teenage motorcycle rebels that gives you a cool peek into 1950s youth culture. And Brando, of course, is super cool as the leader of the Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, which, if you're into cool music from the 2000s, this is where the alternative garage rock bands got their name from this movie. But anyways, there's so many fun little moments in this. It's just, I don't know, because when you see this and you see the teenager in this, and it's from 1953, at the end of the day, all teenagers are the same. They have their little groups, they have their little scenes, and of course they have their rebellion. Oh, you also have a very young Lee Marvin in this. So again, I don't understand why don't we have, let's say, a nice 4K version of this from Criterion, but you know what? I'll take a nice 4K transfer on the Blu-ray anytime. And this is one I have not seen, again, which I've been wanting to see. And it kind of plays out like a Western, I want to say, or at least that's what I hear, because it takes place in a small little rural town. And Robert Redford, I think he's like a guy that leaves or escapes prison and is coming back to his hometown, and the whole town is all freaking out about it. But anyways, this was, like I said, this was directed by Arthur Penn, and he did, of course, Bonnie and Clyde, and he did a very cool Dustin Hoffman Western called The Little Big Man. And again, this was produced by Sam Spiegel, who brought us another Brando classic, On the Waterfront. And he also produced Lawrence of Arabia, which did not have Brando, but it's still an amazing movie. If you've never seen Lawrence of Arabia, do yourself a favor. It's just visually stunning and a very good movie. It also lets you kind of have a better idea of how we got into this mess in the Middle East, It gives you a little piece of that story. But anyways, you have Robert Redford in this, Jane Fonda, Angie Dickinson, a young Robert Duvall. We even get Paul Williams before the 1970s turned him into a cult icon. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one for the first time, to see what it's all about. Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger from a 1977, directed by Sam Wanamaker. Now this is a childhood favorite, as it was one of the first movies I remember watching on a cable TV in the 1980s with my mama and my papa, and believe me, that when I saw Ray Harryhausen stop motion, it blew my little mind. Now, it definitely feels very aged, and even on its release date, Star Wars made it look like an old-timey movie. Now, this is a fun, action-packed adventure, family-friendly, and the third Harryhausen Sinbad movies. The first one was The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad from 1959, and is probably considered the best, the fan favorite. But the nostalgia for this one is so much stronger for me. I know it has its flaws, and it may even be cheesy at times, but it's so much fun. And this one was an impulse buy, as I was hoping that Severin would release this, as it is included in their folk horror compendium All the Haunts Be Ours Volume 2. But, I just couldn't wait. And this has also been released on DVD by Mando Macabro. So if you just want it on Blu-ray, the only way is through the box set, which I might still get. Or this, the indicator release, but there really isn't other than the Severin one, a single domestic release, Now, this movie is not for everyone, as this is somewhat of an art house horror film, I want to say, or it feels like an art house horror film, and some may not vibe very well with it if you were looking for a straight-up shocker. But if you like weird, trippy, atmospheric horror with a good dose of fantasy, this may be something for you. And this is based on Islamic mythology, something that we, rarely ever see in a horror movie, honestly. And someone on IMDb even classified this as one of the first Sufi horror movies. But in a nutshell, this is about a flautist who stumbles on a secret about his old man that leads him into a celestial duel with an ancient supernatural weirdo who wants to destroy the world. It's very unique, and I'm very happy to bring this into the collection, I don't know if you ASMR people want to see this, the crackling of the plastic. Gotta throw it into the trash. And alas, we get more advertisements. Hey, I got that movie. This is another one. I believe Scream Factory released. I have the DVD of The Legacy, a very good haunted film. Night Tide, that's another good one. I almost got Night Tide. Don't know why I didn't grab that one. That's weird. I thought I had ordered it. My bad. Night Tide is really cool. It has to do with a mermaid, and you get a Dennis Hopper in it. But anyways, Born of Fire. I think this was my favorite of the indicators, and my favorites of the non-indicators. I think the Japanese one, but I guess it would be this one, Even though I'm very excited, very, very excited to see Skull on the Crosshairs. So I guess those were the top three of the haul. Born of Fire, Skull on the Crosshairs, and the Rockers 4K, which tonight I'm going to watch, and maybe I'll do an in-depth review just like I did with the Garbage Pail Kids. Anyway, that is all I have. And remember, and if the spirit of Nobuhiko Kobayashi moved you, bless that like button and tap subscribe to seal your place among the initiated.